everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class, and it is also officially the last class on Blanche Case Fitness in 2020. Oh my gosh. We made it. We made it, friends. Yeah. I don't know how, but somehow we've made it here. Holy crap. Hey, good to see you, my dear. Yes, we finally made it. It's not, the last day of 2020, but it's the second to last day. It's our last class of the year. Our next class this week will be on Friday. It will officially be in 2021. And I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to just jettison 2020 into space. And it's interesting, I can't remember if I told this story in a stream in the last week or two, but you're going to have to put up with me repeating myself. I sort of came up with an analogy for switching into 2021 the other day, because, just because we are moving into a new year does not mean that all of our problems disappear. It doesn't mean that white supremacy magically dismantles itself, or that we're not still going through the last gasps of the stupidest coup attempt in modern history, or that we don't still have a completely uncontrolled pandemic with a brand new, even more transmissible strain that had its first confirmed US case right here in Colorado. Yay! So it's good to remember that flipping into a new year does not magically make everything better. But the analogy I came up with the other day is it's like we're in a horror film, right? And it's entirely possible that the next room has a clown with a knife who's going to try and kill us. But we know that this room has a clown with a knife who's going to try to kill us. So let's just get out of this room and into the next one, and then we can reassess and figure out what we're doing and what we need to fight against and run away from and work towards. So, yeah, that's sort of where I am right now. I'm trying to remind myself that there's still plenty to do, but also remind myself that there is power in the shift, in the knowledge that we are in a new temporal zone. Even if it's, completely man-made, it still has value because we give it value. So that's sort of where I'm focusing. Yeah, thank goodness for incompetence, the one and only time. Oh my God, this year. Yeah, this year has been a lot bit shit. And one of the only good things to come out of this year is you folks, and believe me, I do not take that for granted. Thank you, dear. I do not take that for granted. I am so grateful to have this channel, to have y'all joining me here and working out with me, and just helping me to figure out what I want to do with my own life and with the work that I'm doing. And that has been a hugely wonderful thing and a hugely positive thing in my life. And it's something I am incredibly grateful for. I still won't miss 2020. I still wish that I had been able to start this off in a year that was not so awful in so many other ways. Both on global and personal scales, but I'm glad that I get to take this and move it into 2021 and keep building it and do all that kind of stuff. Keep building this community. That's the stuff that I value and the stuff I'm really excited to build forward. So remember the good things. Don't ignore the bad things. And tomorrow, I know we're all going to be in our own homes, but hopefully raising a beverage of your choice to say that final farewell to 2020. Oh my God, a friend of mine showed me these Match.com commercials that are out right now that are telling the story of the devil using Match.com and meeting up with a date for the first time, and she goes, "Please call me 2020," and it's just like so sad and so funny at the same time. It's a really smartly done commercial. I was like, yeah, you go Match.com. You are not a service I use, but that is an intelligent commercial. And I can see that being very effective. And at the very least, it's quite amusing, but in that like laugh to keep from crying kind of a way. Yay, which has been a lot of this year. So let's move forward. Let's, however we can, recognizing that there will still be challenges, but I'm ready to move forward. And I hope you are too. And what better way to close out the year than kicking our asses in a cardio class? Woo! See, this is perfect. It's not only the midweek energy pickup, but it's also just an opportunity to remind ourselves of our own power and our own strength and badassery so that we can really head out of 2020 on a high note. That is my goal for today. I got an email from Twitch that was like, we're encouraging all of our creators to do New Year's Eve party streams, and here's some ideas. And I was like, maybe next year, Twitch. I don't think I'm ready for a New Year's Eve stream this year, but maybe next year. But we can do a New Year's Eve cardio class, and that's what we're here to do. Woo, woo, woo. All right, my loves, time for that pre-class checklist. Make sure that we are taking care of ourselves always as best we can in the middle of gestures vaguely at everything. So, you got your water. Let me tell you, I chugged down a Mason's jar worth of water an hour ago, and I'm really glad I did that. As you all know, I keep reminding you to hydrate, and part of the reason is that I know that I myself am very bad at remembering to hydrate. So, I understand that it can be hard, so I want to at least be the external voice that reminds you to hydrate. You got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. It could mean moisture wicking spandex, or it could mean a t-shirt and shorts, whatever. As long as you feel comfortable working out in it, it's exercise clothing, all right? Never ever feel like you are required to buy super expensive equipment, okay? We talk about accessibility for these classes, and part of the reason why I stick primarily with bodyweight classes is that there is no barrier to entry. There's no monetary gate that is up that is keeping people from being able to do class. Like, as long as you have enough space on the floor, an argument can be made that you do have to have an internet connection, and that is a fair argument. But if you have that, then you have everything you need for class. And so much that is on my my checklist is not necessarily optional, but like has a range of modes, okay? So, I've got spandexy things, but they're all like from Target. I'm not going out and buying, super technologically advanced clothing. And yes, that is a thing. If you are, awesome. And if you're literally in like a bathing suit, awesome. As long as you feel comfortable working out in it, you are good to go. We've got our mat or our mat-sized space on the floor. And if you do use a fitness wearable, speaking of expensive things that are by no means required for class, but if you do use one, I just like to remind people to turn them on, because I know that I always, I used to struggle with that before I started doing the pre-class checklist with you folks. You have all made me so much better at my own exercise process and discipline, and God, I appreciate that so much. I'm so much better at remembering water and remembering to turn on my wearable and just exercising on a regular basis, and it's because of you folks. So thank you. Yeah. All right. And I turned on the speaker. I was editing one of my earlier VODs and just like, oh, and that was the day that I totally forgot about speaker and phone before I sat down and turned on the webcam. So, but I didn't forget today. So we are going to get kicked off with our warm-up. Hiya. You are probably not having to awkwardly scoot yourself across the floor like I am. And yeah, that's probably for the best. All right, my friends. So, on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And as soon as you hear that timer, we will begin with our hip rocks and bridges. Hiya. So, even though this is cardio class, and even though we are going to be going pretty high energy today, remember that that's not where we start. The warm-up is a true warm-up. We're not here to go 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds. We are here to slowly and methodically boot up all of the systems that we need to be able to have a really awesome class. I mean, there's a reason that this warm-up sequence takes a quarter of class, okay? We are not here trying to immediately ramp up to 11. And that's something that's really important to remind ourselves of. And if you've taken class with me for a while, obviously I've been doing this since March, so if you've been taking class with me for the last 9 months, then you're more aware of that. But if you are new, then this is one of the things I want you to keep in mind. This whole warm-up sequence is designed to bring systems online. It's designed to give your body an opportunity to get ready for the intensity of the rest of class. So we don't want to start out already trying to achieve that intensity, because we're just going to burn right through all of the energy that we have available, and then we're going to really struggle to get through the rest of class. One of the systems that we're booting up right now is the energy production system in our muscle fibers. And they're getting started breaking down fuel sources and converting them into energy that we can then use for class. But if we're over here trying to burn through all of that energy before our body even has a chance to make it, then we're really going to struggle to get through the remaining 45 minutes of class after we're done with the warm-up. So I'm focusing on this today because it can be a really easy thing to overlook. We have a lot of messaging in fitness around just sort of charge headlong into any problem or any new situation, and that's not a safe and sustainable way to build up our personal fitness and to build up our exercise routine. We see videos of someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson really just like going at it and hammering himself in the gym. What we didn't see was the, decades worth of buildup to get himself to that point. And what we didn't see is his warm-up sequence, which I'm sure is a little less intense than that. And if it isn't, well, it should be. But yeah, so always remember that this sequence here is not designed for me to be lifting my leg up as high as I possibly can and making sure that I'm going, 120% already. It's designed for me to just start flipping on switches so that by the time I get to the end of the warm-up sequence, I am ready to take that energy and take that warming up of my muscles and use it to really challenge myself throughout the rest of class, okay? So just keep that in mind. We have a tendency as a society to be very bad at allowing ourselves to build towards a particular state we're trying to reach, rather than just assuming that we should be able to get there immediately. And, you know, for anything that we want to be able to maintain for the rest of our lives, we have to shift our focus away from purely goal-oriented to journey-oriented, okay? I want to be active and mobile for as much of my life as possible. And believe me, when you have a strong exercise routine, whatever it looks like, that is something that is really, really possible. You know, we do not have to reach old age and be completely incapable of moving under our own power and feel like we can't, you know, do the things that we want to be able to do. But part of being able to get there and still be active and still do the things that we want to do is by learning safe and smart practices now, you know, so that we're not out there going for 120% intensity and then whoops, I've injured myself, and that injury is going to follow me through the rest of my life and is going to impact my mobility as I get older. And well darn, that was a barrier that didn't need to be there. So, you know, it's the reason that I focus on really allowing the warm-up to be a warm-up. It's the reason that we have the 3 components of the bare minimum that are the things that I want you to focus on before you do anything else in this class. So just focusing on starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly before you ever start to think about, okay, how can I increase reps? How can I increase speed? How can I increase, you know, power output and intensity like that? I want to give you the strongest foundation possible so that you can still be in your 60s or 70s and doing this class like it ain't no thing, okay? Don't know why I said that. That was horrifying. I just hope that never comes out of my mouth again. But you know what I mean. And I say that like because I absolutely have students. I mean, when I'm able to teach in person, I have students who are in their 60s heading towards their 70s and who can do this class and do it well, okay? So you can absolutely be an older human and be doing a class like this. But part of that is making sure that you are giving yourself the strongest foundation to build off of, all right? So just always keep that in mind. The sooner that we start really focusing on long-term safety and sustainability for our movement practices, the better we will be able to maintain our desired levels of mobility and activity as we get older. And that is something that's really nice, you know? And I recognize that, you know, levels of overall activity and athleticism differ in different places. I live in Colorado, and Colorado is a place filled with extremely fit people, you know, to the point where the one time I did a climbing competition for adults, I was like, there is no way that I will win anything in the, 30 to 40 category, but I also wouldn't stand a chance against anybody in the 60 and over category because they are all just incredibly skilled. But it's a good reminder that we absolutely have the ability to maintain our mobility and our levels of activity as we get older. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to climb stairs when we're older. We want to be able to run after our, our grandchildren or our friends' kids. We want to be able to go on a hike, and part of that is starting with, all right, how do I build exercise into my life on an ongoing basis? I'm going to talk about this a lot today because obviously we are in the resolution setting portion of the year. And I don't like focusing on resolutions because they are set up with this cold turkey mentality, which ties into a lot of what we've been talking about, okay? We set up resolutions as all right, when this switch flips, when the clock ticks over to this arbitrary day, I am suddenly going to be absolutely perfect at this thing that I want to do, And we see it a lot with fitness-based resolutions where people are like, all right, I am going to start working out 5 days a week. No ramp up, I'm just going to do it. And I started calling it cold turkey starting because it's the same thing as trying to cold turkey stop something, where that does work for some people, but for the majority of us, that is not a sustainable way to build a new habit. And so we fall away from it, we get discouraged, and then it becomes even harder, if we do come back around and go, well, I'd like to give this another shot, but I already have this memory of discouragement that is making me struggle at being able to build this up. And part of that is just that we don't allow ourselves to build new habits up slowly. If this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life, then you don't have to immediately jump to the front of the line. You don't have to immediately skip to the end of the journey, okay? And it's something I think about a lot, and I know I've struggled with that, and everybody struggles with that. But as we head into the new year, if you're, thinking about what goals you want to set for yourself, what new habits you want to build, what you may want to do because you think it will improve your health or your happiness, I want you to really keep in mind that you do not have to perfectly reach that goal on day one. And in fact, that you will be doing yourself a disservice if that's how you try to approach it. So if you really want to be working out 5 days a week in some form, it's not that that's a bad goal, but don't start there. If you've been doing no exercise, then start with, okay, let me just be able to work out 1 day a week, all right? And let me maintain that for at least a few weeks, and then go, okay, I've been able to maintain that, and I've built in that habit, that discipline, that expectation. Now let me see about adding another day every week or two, okay? But we do not have to already be at the finish line right after we run over the starting line, okay? And it's a really important thing to keep in mind. We want to build a foundation that we can maintain rather than just trying to shove ourselves into a box that we think we're supposed to fit in. So that's one of the reasons why when people ask me, you know, what the best exercise activity is, the best fitness activity is the thing or things that you enjoy and that you can stick with, okay? And if you have found those things, then awesome. And that doesn't mean that you can't try other things. Obviously, sometimes we try new things and we go, ooh, wow, I really am liking this, or that's not where I am right now. And then, you know, we have more information. But, you know, I have people who are like, oh, well, I really feel like I should start running, but I just really hate it. You know, I always feel really uncomfortable. It's just a really unpleasant experience. And I'm like, then don't do it, okay? If you are not going to enjoy the activity, then find something you do enjoy, okay? And enjoyment comes in many different forms, right? There are plenty of people who are not crazy about the experience of exercise itself, but enjoy the benefits of it and thus are willing to do, you know, whatever activity they've settled on. And that is totally legit, okay? If you are exercising more because of the benefits that you're receiving and not because you really love high intensity interval training, that's totally fine. But you have to enjoy what you're doing at least a little bit. Either you enjoy the teacher or the energy or the location or something. But if you don't enjoy something, you're not going to want to stick with it, okay? So, yeah, just keep that in mind as you're building out your goals for 2021. And because I'm already seeing so much so much messaging about like losing the quarantine weight and you know, earning your holiday feasts, and oh, you'll see fat reducing results with me in just 14 days and all this crap. And it's like, no, build slowly and strong, okay? And make sure that you're starting with a good foundation that you're able to maintain, okay? And don't beat yourself up when progress isn't linear, because progress is never linear, my friends. And believing that it is one of the biggest disservices we do to ourselves. Yeah, oh my God, yeah, because your grandma's like a senior Olympian, isn't she? Which is nuts. I love that. 96 years old. Come on, people. Don't you want to be throwing a javelin when you're 96? I don't, because that type of field activity was never my preferred activity. But still, it's the overall thought that counts. All right, my loves. Whew. See, I'm talking a lot today, but it's okay. So we're just going to be doing a bunch of tabatas. This first one is going to be 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. And we're going to be doing a high knee run. So anyone who was in class with me yesterday did the low-high guided intervals, and this was the low version of Flaming Scarlet. So we're not lifting our arms above our heads. We can keep them down here, and we're just jumping back and forth from foot to foot, lifting our knees up, but you don't have to get them above the crease in your hips, okay? You don't want them super low. Like, you want to be lifting them, but we're not going to be quite as intense about gotta get up above the crease in the hips, okay? So, everybody on your mats. And let's get going, my dears. So, we're just doing this one exercise. So, we'll have 8 times through, pretty standard, but 30-second work intervals rather than 20. But that was not the starting horn. That was our get ready, knock, 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 and hey! So, starting on time and stopping on time, 2 components of the bare minimum. So, what that means for a class like this, it's a lot easier, honestly, because we're starting from a position at rest. So we're not going directly from one exercise into the other. And the second that we hear the horn, we can just stop doing the activity, right? So it's a lot simpler today. When we're doing perpetual motion sets, it's a little more complex because you are moving directly from one exercise into the next exercise. But today's all tabatas. So starting on time and stopping on time are going to be super easy. And you're going to get that knock, knock, knock sound each time to let you know that there are 5 seconds before the rest period is done so that you can get into position. And as soon as that horn goes off, you can start moving again, all right? So you want to be moving the second you start to hear that fanfare, all right? You don't want to wait until it's over and then go, oh, all right, I guess I'm moving now, because you've lost valuable seconds out of the interval. And when we're only going for 20 or 30 seconds, that is a pretty noticeable percentage of your work. So starting on time and stopping on time, not letting yourself stop until you hear the beginning of that ending horn, all right? And again, this is your first time in class. Just focus on those 2 things and doing the exercise correctly. So making sure you've got the form down. Don't worry about going for lots of speed, lots of knee height. Just focus on, I want to start moving when I hear that first horn. I don't want to stop until I hear that second horn. And I want to make sure that I'm doing the exercise correctly. And with those 3 components, you will be getting a great workout, okay? That is all you need to focus on to get so much out of this class. And it's better to start there because, again, we want to build up a habit. I want you to come back. I want you to come back to class. And if you come to class for the first time and you're like, all right, I'm going to really show them what I can do, and you go for full-on intensity, and you get out of class, and you're like falling over yourself, and you can barely move for the next, week, you're not going to want to come back. You're going to be like, well, that was unpleasant, and I don't want to repeat that. So I deliberately don't want you to be going for 100% intensity if this is your first time, because I want you to come back. And how my mentor used to put it, well, still puts it, it's not like he's dead, but how he puts it is 1 class is a trauma, 2 or more is a habit. And that's what we're trying to build, okay? So if this is your first time, I want you to just focus on those 3 things and to be confident that you are going to be getting a great workout no matter what, okay? And if you've been taking class with me for longer, obviously, I want you to push yourself harder. But that always comes with the caveat that you know your body best. And if you have come into class today and you're like, I'm going through some stuff, my body's feeling fatigued, or my brain is really struggling, and I don't know, it was, a win just to get myself on the mat today, that's fine, okay? That's fine. Just focus on the bare minimum. The bare minimum is always there for you. And the bare minimum is gonna make sure that no matter what, you get a good workout in, okay? And sometimes we need to go back to that. Sometimes we really need to just give ourselves a break and just focus on changing our paradigm for success. So today's the day when I'm going to be trying to really push myself, but there are plenty of days when I turn on the stream and I'm like, as long as I can get through class, that's what I want to do, and that's fine. Okay, that is totally fine. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna be putting up more content on the YouTube channel starting in January, and the first thing that's gonna go up is a video breaking down the different exercises in the warm-up, because that warm-up is consistent across all of the classes I teach, so it's the best place to start is just getting to know that warm-up. And yeah, I absolutely recommend watching before doing, I love teaching online. It becomes a little more complicated to make sure that people's form is correct. You have to do a lot more of that work because I'm not in the room with you. But I am going to be using the YouTube channel to put up a lot of resources like that to really help people as much as I can to find the correct form. All right, my loves. Second Tabata is going to be 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest, and we are going to have 2 exercises. You're going to guess what one of them is as I do this, but that's not the one we're starting with. The one we're starting with is flying chickens. So for the jump, we're jumping our feet apart in the air and then bringing them back together to land. So out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. For the arms, thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, just hook your thumbs behind your bra straps. And we're just flapping our elbows, all right? Looking so majestic. And then the second exercise, tramps. You know how much I love them. So we are going to be moving along our mats by first moving shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. So I'm rocking back and forth, and each time my shoulders come off the ground, they move in the direction I'm traveling, and each time my hips come off the ground, they move in the direction I'm traveling, okay? If this is your first time trying to do these, you can just start with a really small boat rock and visualize, all right, every time my shoulders come up, I want them to move. Every time my hips come up, I want them to move, okay? It's a weird exercise. It takes time to get used to, but it's one that's good to get used to because I love it a lot. All righty, so 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. Remember, first sound does not mean go, which is really nice. And if you wonder why I constantly say that, it's because no matter how long you've been doing this, there will come a time when I start out the timer and you hear that first horn and go, oh, I've heard a sound, thus I should be exercising. And then you'll hear the knocking and go, well, crap, I missed out on some valuable rest time because I wasn't paying attention. So it is something that
is still likely to happen even if you've been taking class with me for a while. So never hurts to have that little reminder in. All right, here we are at our shrimps, remembering that a big component of this exercise is the ability to isolate the movement of different parts of your body. So being able to isolate the movement of my chest and then isolate the movement of my hips. So it's a tricky one if you don't have that experience. If you don't have the experience of, yes, I can move my chest around without any of the rest of my body going anywhere. Which is another reason why, if you're new to it, I recommend just doing sort of a boat rock and visualizing what you want to accomplish, because that way you start to set the neural pathways for the exercise, and then it will become a little bit easier when you start trying to put movement to the imagination, okay? But never, ever hold back from doing a modification if you need to. If you don't quite understand the full aspirational version of the exercise and I've given you a modification, never hesitate to use it, all right? Again, some exercises are journeys, okay? We are not going to immediately, intuitively pick up every exercise. And it's important for us to, again, give ourselves the ability, the opportunity to build towards the end goal, rather than to assume that we need to immediately be there as soon as we cross the start line. So always keep that in mind as you are getting further along in class. As I introduce new exercises, we all have different movement strengths and different places where we need a little bit more help and a little bit more time. So shrimps happens to be one that's right up my alley based on my own movement experience and preferences. It may not be that intuitive for you, and that's okay, all right? But if you find yourself turning in a circle when you try to move, definitely go back to the boat rock for a little bit. All right, speaking of, here comes our last run through the shrimps. So this is an exercise, obviously, that's very core focused. Our obliques are driving the movement of both the chest and the hips as we move our way down the mats. But our abdominals are also engaged, keeping us in that rounded position that allows us to do that rocking motion, okay? So something to always consider is what parts of the abdominals should be engaged in whatever you're doing. Generally, it's all of them to some degree. All right, how's your water drinking going so far, friends? Frenchie's here too, I missed that. Hi! It's a party. It's a New Year's Eve party on the stream, and I love it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is what I needed today. I sat down to plan out class and I was like, I just want to really get that heart rate going today. Like, obviously that's always what we're trying to do on Wednesdays, but today I'm really trying to focus it in. So our next exercise, we are going back to 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. And this exercise is going to be turtle waves. So if you've taken class with me long enough, you know that when I say turtle, the first thing you do is roll onto your shoulders and then up onto your feet. If you need assistance, you can push up using a hand, or even let one knee sort of come down and then push up like that. But I really recommend working towards a place where you can let the momentum get you up onto your feet, just because these exercises, the momentum is a huge component of the exercise, and whenever we use those modifications, we stop it dead, and then we have to regenerate it. So it just makes the exercise a little bit trickier. But rock onto the feet, plant the hands and jump back into a plank, and then a nice wave push-up, just like we did in the burpees in the warm-up, and then repeat. Remember, when we do those push-ups, keeping your elbows in right by your sides, not letting them fan out, okay? Alrighty. Wee-hoo. Really getting to focus in on specific exercises today. I like it. Sometimes I really like having a more diverse menu, and sometimes I really like giving us the opportunity to hone in and just focus our attention on one, maybe two things. So hopefully you're enjoying that as well as we head into our turtle waves. So this is another one of those exercises with a lot of moving parts. All right, we've got the rock up onto the feet. We've got the jump back into that plank, which requires strength and stability in our shoulders, which then has to be maintained for that push-up, where we're also keeping those elbows in, really focusing that effort on the triceps, okay? And so a lot of moving parts to this. So again, if this is new to you, take it slow, okay? Always, I'm not always going to remember to say this, but I always want it understood. If you're new to an exercise, even if I'm over here pushing for a little more speed and intensity, if you're new to something, still trying to figure out all the components of it, you go at whatever pace makes sense to you. Again, that bare minimum form is one of the key elements of that triumvirate. And no matter what I'm saying over here, I want you to always focus on form before you go anywhere else with these exercises, okay? Whew. But it is fun once you lock it down a little bit and get to have a little bit more fun with the movement itself. And y'all know that I love the turtle series of exercises because it gives us an opportunity to work in movement as just fun in a way that we don't always get to in these classes, you know? Like the class itself is super fun, I flatter myself. But, you know, it's not, even though I don't hate doing burpees anymore, I quite enjoy it, but I have never thought of burpees and gone, oh, that's fun. But the turtle series, I do think of that way because we get to just sort of roll around on the floor a little bit. We get to use momentum as a core component of the activity, which just makes it like you just sort of want to go wee every time. And then for our turtle waves, as your shoulders get stronger, you can start to really enjoy that jump back to the plank position and just feeling the stability that you're able to maintain as you get yourself into position and then go for that push-up. So just identify the exercises that are fun and enjoy them as much as you can, okay? Again, it's easier for us to maintain things that we actually like doing. So even if you're primarily working out for the benefits of exercise, I still want you to find those pieces of class that you're like, that's something I enjoy. I enjoy the intensity, or I enjoy the opportunity to work on this exercise or that exercise. You know, identify the things that give you pleasure, and that will help to keep you motivated and engaged as we work out together. Whee! And and if you ever want to really ramp up the intensity of your workout, you can start streaming on Twitch and have to figure out how to carry on a full-on one-sided conversation while also doing these activities, which, let me tell you, I think has been the single biggest factor in the improvement of my own fitness this year. It's just, I have to be able to exercise and talk at the same time. It has done wonders for my cardiovascular stamina. So yeah, you don't even necessarily have to stream. Just start up a running commentary about something while you're working out and see how the challenge rating goes up. Whew. All right. So fun. So fun. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I am really glad that I drank all that water an hour before. That was hugely helpful. And I don't talk about the specifics of nutrition a lot because I'm not a dietitian. But in terms of fueling yourself for exercise, particularly a class like this, someday well, to be fair, I am an actor and I used to do musical theater all the time, so I used to be able to dance and sing at the same time, which, yeah, I could probably start singing a little bit, but these activities are also not well designed for keeping the space in my diaphragm to sing well. But yeah, when you're fueling yourself up for exercise, you want to try and eat and hydrate 1 to 2 hours before you're going to do the activity. So I don't want to be having any food or drink in the hour leading up to class. I want all of that to process and sort of start getting worked into my body, and not, there's nothing worse than coming into class with like a full stomach and just being like, well, I feel this food that's trying to digest just bouncing up and down in my stomach the whole time. So within 1 to 2 hours is generally what I recommend, and it really does have an impact. I had some chocolate chips and a full thing of water, and I feel so much more energy than I do on many of these classes. So test it out and find the range that works for you, because everybody's body is different. Everybody's body is different. All right, going back to those 20 seconds of work intervals, 2 exercises. First one is going to be our imaginary jump rope. So pretending we're holding a jump rope and we're just going for it. All right. And then second one is going to be bicycles. So we come down to the floor. Before you do anything else, I want you to engage your core and use that engagement to lift your shoulders off the floor. And then one knee into your chest, one leg extended but off the ground. Bring your opposite elbow to that knee, and then just switch back and forth, okay? And just going back and forth between the 2 sides. So those are our 2 exercises. Let's get ready to rumble, my friends. Dun, dun, dun. Remember, first sound does not mean go. And we're starting with our jump ropes. The nice thing about doing jump ropes without an actual jump rope is that you don't have to worry about hitting the jump rope on the edge of your mat or your toes or anything like that. So you can go for a little bit of extra speed that you might not be able to do if you're using a jump rope in real life. And then, maybe at some point you find a jump rope and you go, oh, cool. This is a lot easier than I remember it being. So again, there's a lot of value in visualizing and in doing modified versions to build ourselves up to the full version that we want to get to. But here in our bicycles, again, I talk about this all the time. Make sure that you are driving your movement from the core. So bringing a limb across to the opposite side is always going to bring our obliques in. So that's what we're really working on for those bicycles. And then the abdominals are keeping our shoulders off the ground, okay? Woo! 20 seconds feels luxuriously short. And one of the beautiful things about the Tabata interval is that because it's such a short amount of time, relatively speaking, we feel more comfortable challenging ourselves for a little more speed and a little more power than we might do otherwise. So always when we're doing Tabatas that are 20 to 30 seconds of work, I want you to really think about what challenge am I up for right now, because 20 seconds goes by like that. So you can push yourself for speed that is not necessarily sustainable over the long term, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get through 20 seconds. And then we get half of that time back as rest. So figure out what you can do to challenge yourself in these smaller intervals, okay? Because the thing is, there's not a lot that you can get done in 20 seconds. There's going to be a pretty rapid cap to the number of reps you're able to achieve of anything. So you might as well push yourself for a little bit more speed and intensity and see where that gets you. And then the times when you do go, ooh, I did get a little bit farther, a little bit faster than I usually do, it's really exciting. All right, last time through, my friends, going back to those jump ropes. Jump rope is a fun one. Another one of those exercises that, everybody's done. Like if you've ever been through a PE class, you've probably jump roped. And that also, most of us sort of leave behind in PE class and don't necessarily come up against later in life unless you do things like boxing, which is the only place in my adult life that I had encountered jump rope before I started taking this class. But yeah, I remember the first time that Chris put jump ropes into the class and he was like, it's probably been years since any of you have done this. And I was like, haha, boxing. I did this a couple weeks ago. Oh, and this boxing. Man, I can't wait to keep doing these classes in 2021. And I also cannot wait to be able to go back to some of the other activities that I enjoy doing. Just, it's going to be nice when we can dance again and go for hikes without worrying about masks. And it's going to be a while before we get there, my friends. And I'm ready for that. I recognize that. But I miss dance. I miss boxing. I miss climbing, rock climbing. Oh my God, it's been ages since I've been able to go to the gym. Oh my goodness. But just remember, I feel it's important, especially because of some really sensationalist and frankly irresponsible headlines that I've seen today. Important to remember that whenever you do get the vaccine, please remember it's a two-dose vaccine, so you are not immediately protected after one dose. And even after you get the second dose, I believe it takes about 2 weeks before the full immune response builds up.
so that you will be more protected. So please do not take a single dose of the vaccine as an excuse to stop being safe, all right? We're in some kind of home stretch, my friends, but we're not there yet. There is a new, even more highly transmissible strain working its way through the world, and it is so important for us to keep quarantine as best we can, keep physical distancing as best we can, wear a mask every time you have to step outside of your home, make sure that you are washing your hands. Just, we are getting closer, but we need to keep this up. Our healthcare system cannot continue to deal with what it's dealing with. All right. Also, I'd like to see my parents again before, 2022. So that would be nice. Okay. Back to 30 seconds. We're doing turtle jumps. So we've already done one turtle. You know how it starts. Up on the feet and then just jump and then right back down. All right. So another fun one. A little leap at the end there. Okay. Let's get ourselves going. Woo woo. Yeah, this is clearly exactly the class I needed today. And I fueled myself better than I did yesterday. Yesterday, speaking of fueling ourselves, and here's one of the reasons why it's important. Because I didn't really eat much yesterday before teaching class, and I got to the end of class. We were doing calf awareness, which, those of you who've taken class know is a pretty chill exercise sequence, basically to cool down at the end of class. And I had to stop because I suddenly got really dizzy and nauseated because I had not fueled myself well heading into class, and I hadn't been hydrating well, and that has an impact. So it is so important to make sure that you are fueling and hydrating yourself well, and also super important to listen to your body. And if it tells you, hey, I'm feeling dizzy and nauseated, that's a hard stop. No matter what you're doing, no matter if it's a perpetual motion class, no matter if you are halfway through a set, that is a hard stop. Breathe, deep breaths, figure out if the sensation continues or if it clears, then you can start trying to move again carefully. If it comes back, then that may mean that you are done with class for the day, and that is fine. We are not here to work out until we throw up. So nausea and dizziness are absolutely 100% of the time hard stop points. And they don't have to be hard stop for the rest of class points, but if they are, you need to honor that, my friends. You need to believe your body when it sends you those signals, and learn to trust it, okay? It was interesting. One of my friends is a therapist, and they work a lot with, ADHD brains and stuff like that, but they were talking on Discord about a motivational technique that they use to be able to break through that sort of brain paralysis that can come with just, procrastination. It can be a result of anxiety, it can be a result of ADHD, or it can just be a result of not having the motivation energy in that moment. And they were talking about, I'm not going to get the entire technique correct right off the bat, but whack! I fell backwards there.
But a big part of it was, you know, they were recommending set a timer. If you have something you want to do, but you are just not able to get yourself doing it, set a timer and focus on something that you know energizes you, gets you excited. Don't think about the thing that you're trying to do. Do something that energizes you, gets the juices flowing. And when that timer goes off, it is not a signal that it's time to do the thing. It's a signal that it's time to check back in and see if you have the motivation to do the thing. And if you don't, set another timer, maybe reassess if the activity that you were doing is something that actually energizes you, and repeat the process. And what they were saying is that helps to train you to listen to the signals that your brain is telling you, and to honor those signals. And I was like, I can't even believe it, because I talk about that all the time in these classes. I talk about how important it is to listen to the signals that our brains and our bodies are sending us, and to honor them and not just try and push past them. But it never occurred to me to do that same approach to motivation, to when I'm trying to get things done and feeling really horrible that I'm not able to just get out of the chair and do the thing. So that was one of those sort of light bulb moments today, which was a lot of fun. Okay. We have one set left, my friends. Woo. Drink that water. Drink that water. I want you to be finished with this water bottle by the end of class. And if you haven't, then when we finish class, finish this water bottle and then go and refill it. Start drinking another one, okay? All right. Our last set, my dears. One final Tabata, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, 2 exercises. And first exercise is push-ups, which we can do from the knees, from a plank. We can do just a straight up plank push-up. We can do a wave push-up. We can do a combo. The most important things, again, making sure that our elbows are staying glued to our sides and not folding outwards. And shoulders directly over wrists. I want perpendicular line between your arms and the floor, even if you're going from the knees, okay? I still want you to be in that position. And then the second exercise is going to be Flaming Scarlet. So we started class with a variant. Now we're going for the real deal. Arms up in a V for victory, jumping from foot to foot, bringing those knees up above the crease in the hips, assuming you can manage it. Otherwise, bringing them as high as you can. Alrighty? So, here we are, our last timer. We've got 2 exercises. Oh, and boy howdy, are we here at the end of class, and you are probably feeling a lot of things, a lot of fatigue, a lot of sweat, a lot of intensity. What I want you to remind yourself is that here in our final timer, we no longer have to keep any pockets of energy held back, so we can leave it all here on the mat. So I really want you to push yourself as much as you can here in this last set, because we're not holding back anymore. We have no reason to. We can finish out strong. And I want you to really, really focus on that, whatever that means to you today. But yeah, you know, if you've ever run a race, half marathon, 5K, anything like that, you know the feeling of getting in sight of the finish line and going, oh, there's a pocket of energy I didn't know I still had, and really sprinting in and finishing out strong. And that's what we want to do here, all right? We have been working our butts off today, and you've been doing such a good job. And now is the time to really come home strong, okay? So we're getting our cheerleaders out. We are putting them on the floor next to your mat, next to your laptop, next to your TV, whatever you are streaming this class on, and they are doing their best floor routines, flipping and tossing each other into the air, throwing pom-poms willy-nilly, and they are cheering you on because you have made it through an hour of class. High intensity, high cardio, high heart rate, high breath rate, and you have made it through with flying colors, just like you have made it through 2020, which, my friends, has been a dumpster fire in so many ways, but in many other ways has shown us how powerful we can be when we come together, when we take care of each other, when we focus on health and healing rather than productivity, productivity, productivity. I am so grateful for all of you for coming on this journey with me. I know it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for me either, but we have made it to the end of, I'll go out on a limb and say, the hardest year of my life, both on a global and a personal scale, but we've made it through. We have found those pockets of energy and strength that we didn't necessarily think that we had, and we have dived in, and we have challenged ourselves, and we have cared for ourselves. We've grieved, but we've also found joy, and now we get to move forward into a brand new year, see what it's got in store, but also knowing that as long as we are here taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other, there really doesn't have to be an end to the things that we can accomplish. Oh, woo! Oh man, friends, that was our last jump around of 2020. Let's stretch a little bit. Let's cool down. Let's take some deep breaths and really let ourselves start to settle. I want you to stand on your mat, feet about hip width apart. Just let your arms dangle down and lift your shoulders up towards your ears, and then let them fall, and up and down and up and down. And now I want you to look to one side over one shoulder, and then turn and look in the other direction, and keep going back and forth, just moving the head, okay? We're not moving the shoulders with the head. We're not twisting our torso. We are isolating only the head, okay? Back to the center. And now bring your ear down to one side, so ear coming down towards the shoulder. Take that arm, put the hand on the side of your head. And you don't have to pull your head down. Just allow the extra weight of your arm to intensify the stretch along your scalenes, okay? Take some nice breaths here. All right, and then release the hand before you let the head come up and over to the other side. Same thing. Again, we're not pulling the head down. We're just letting that additional weight add some additional force to intensify the stretch. Deep breaths here. And release the hand. Bring the head back up. And now we are going to roll all the way down. So we're going to start by just dropping our chin to our chest, okay? My shoulders are still upright. Everything's still upright. I've just let my head drop forward. And now on an 8 count, we are going to roll down 1 vertebra at a time until we are folded over at the hips and our hands are on the floor or as close as you can manage it, okay? So chin to chest, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shake your head a bit just to make sure you're not clenching your neck muscles. You don't want your knees to be locked. You want a little bit of a bend. So they're still straight, but they're not locked back there, because that's just not particularly kind to your knees. So always make sure you have a little bit of a bend in them. Let your entire torso rock, swing from side to side. We're taking nice deep breaths here. We are bringing those heart rates down. And now, again on that 8 count, we're going to take 4 counts to bend our knees all the way down, and then 4 counts to straighten them again, all right? Here we go. Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shake that head out again. Then I want you to take your hands, put them on the opposite elbows, and now gravity is pulling my torso down even farther, intensifying that hamstring stretch. Ooh, I feel it. Oh yeah. Let your back sway from side to side, and your knees are kind of moving a little bit with it. Just swaying. All right, you can let your hands come down again. And now we're going to bend our knees at about a 45-degree angle, and then we are going to roll our spines back up 1 vertebra at a time, again on an 8 count, until we are standing. And when you get to the standing position, I want you to just stay right there. All right, bend the knees, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stand right there. Don't adjust your hair. Don't adjust your clothes. Don't shift your body around. I want you to take nice deep breaths here. I want you to feel the height, the length in your spine. I want you to feel your blood starting to move back through your extremities. I want you to feel the solidity of your feet on the floor. You are here, you are present, and you are ready for whatever 2021 brings our way. All right. Whoa. You can shake your hands out a little bit, shake your feet out a little bit, and I'd say that we are done, my dears. Wow. Oh, make sure you're drinking some water, okay? Yeah. Here we are. Here we are. And you know, I'd say this is exactly the note that I wanted to go out on for 2020 in terms of the stream. We had some fun. We pushed ourselves. It was intense. And then we got to the end of it and went, cool, I can do that. That's really awesome. And honestly, that's where I find so much of my enjoyment in exercise is just being impressed with what my body can do. Because like when you study even like basic anatomy for the personal trainer certification, it's like a miracle that we can move at all, considering all of the things that go into the process of just being able to activate a single muscle fiber, and the signals that have to go through your nervous system, and the way that different forces, internal and external, act upon. It's remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. And whenever I think about that, I am just blown away by what we can do, you know? And it's amazing. And that's something that I think we don't focus enough on, is just enjoying how it feels to feel strong. Not because we're trying to show anybody up, not because we're trying to be the biggest, baddest, fittest person in all the land, but just because, holy crap, evolution is weird and wonderful, and how am I able to do all of this? And, you know, that I've come to realize is really the core of my own enjoyment of fitness. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that my primary mode of exercise for the first 20 years of my life was dance. And dance is absolutely, it's focused on movement for joy and for emotional expression. And that colors everything that I do. And it's that joy that I hope to bring to y'all and help you to discover, because, you know, I think too often we use exercise as punishment, or, you know, as negative reinforcement is how we sort of apply it in our heads. Like, oh, well, I want to do this thing, but I feel bad about it, so I've got to punish myself with some exercise, or I've got to earn this thing with some exercise. And it's like, A, that's just not a really healthy way to approach exercise. And B, it's amazing what we can do with our bodies. And, you know, it's amazing what everybody can do with their bodies, no matter what, you know, whether you're able-bodied or disabled. It is still amazing what you can do with your bodies. It is absolutely incredible. And I hope that as we move into 2021, if there's one thing that I can convey, it's that joy in just moving, and how amazing that is, and how cool that is. And again, if we start from that foundation, I think we can achieve a lot of things. And I am looking forward to achieving them with you all. And I am very, very much looking forward to getting out of this year. And speaking of, as we've said a lot, today's the last class of 2020. I do still have 2 more classes this week, as per usual. So Friday, January 1st, at 6 p.m. Mountain Time is
functional home fitness, where we do weight training with objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning, January 2nd, at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. They are great little classes, very different in tone, which is fun. And they are going to officially kick off 2021 for Blanche Case Fitness, which is super cool and wild. And oh my goodness. Yeah, I what a year, my loves. What a year. Yeah, let's get out of this year and let's see what we can build in the next year. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I was like, where am I? Oh, I guess I'm going into the spiel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles are in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel, which I talked about a little bit earlier, is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you're not able to make the live cast. And there's going to be lots of supplemental material going up there, so definitely head over and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help keep growing this channel, growing this community, pushing us forward towards Twitch affiliate and just helping me to be able to do lots of new fun content in 2021, then please do follow the channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for a good body weight workout. I stream 4 days a week. Even if you're not able to work out that day, just having y'all in chat is super fun. We have a great time here, and I can't wait to do more. So thank you all so much for coming with me on this journey. It started out of necessity and out of a really terrible time in all of our lives, where I know I was grieving the loss of a lot of things that were really important to me and a lot of dreams that I had gone into 2020 with. And throughout the rest of the year, you have helped me to find some new dreams and find some new paths. And I am so grateful for that, and I can't wait to keep doing it with y'all in 2021. So make sure you hydrate, finish that water, refill it, make sure you get some food tonight, have a good shower, enjoy your New Year's Eve. I know that we're going to have to enjoy them from the safety of our own homes, but again, we can all raise a beverage of our choice when the clock strikes 12, and I will see you all back here on Friday in the new year. Mwah. Have a great night.